So I'm going to go over a play here that I think actually has a lot of teaching moments within it. Um, it was a goal for Morgan, and so that's fantastic. It's great that the team scores. It's great that Morgan scored. Um, and there's some coachable things that we can see from what the other team does and what the other team doesn't do, and what we do and what we don't do. I think if I look up on that clock that it's a power play, I think I counted it was only four. There were only four defenders in there, so um, that'll influence something in a moment here about what we talk about with the defenseman. So we're going to start out with Popejoy down there in the corner of the screen, the bottom of the screen. He's coming up, moving through, chipping the puck off the wall. Uh, Makes a nice move, really good move around that defenseman. Very athletic, very smooth. Ends up picking up the puck down below the dot on the line, um, on the bottom of the circle. Takes a shot. I can't really tell what happened. It looked like either missed the net or hit the goalie's shoulder or the blocker or the post or something. Ended up going behind the net. Pope picks it back up, wheels around, comes back out in front, tries to get the puck back out in front. It's kind of sitting there, pokes at it, ends up going little scrum for it, and then here comes. Not exactly sure who that other player was. I know there's Popejoy, Morgan, Olivia, and Daniel Vogel. So I'm not exactly sure who that other player is, but takes a slap at it. The DSE girl tries to clear it. She clears it right onto the stick of Morgan Watts, who then does exactly the right thing and puts it back on net. It looks like there's a player that reaches up to maybe try to knock it down. She reaches way over like she's playing softball or baseball, and then the puck ends up in the back of the net. Okay, so let's go, and I'm going to basically just go in chronological order into the players that are in the play. And so I already started with AJ down here, and I love this zone entry. You're you're you've got two players bracketing you, and you make an aggressive play to get by them, and it takes you a little while to pick up the puck. You get this puck right here. Now, I want to take a snapshot of this right here, okay? And the thing that I want to point out to you the most is look at the other team. Look at how nobody on the other team is paying any attention to, I think this is Vogel right there in the center of the ice. Okay. Number 13 is just allowing Vogel to skate unimposed, not even putting a check on him. You can see that she's barely even glancing over. And this other player, this defenseman in the middle of the ice, who's now coming towards that post, has never looked back behind her, right? At least the other player on the far side puts a body a little bit on this player, but she's totally out of position and she lets him get position on her, okay? But what I really want to focus on right at this moment, okay, is I want to focus on the decision to shoot and the decision to continue on in that direction. Okay, so I'm going to say great decision, great play. Like, love it. Absolutely love it. Dish around, athletic move, little hop. Okay, now you realize when you did this that that girl gave you a little, she didn't give you a bump, but she tried to. So you were able to get around her, but it's just out of your reach, okay? My rule of thumb is that once you reach the dot, you should not shoot anymore. Okay? Look at the distance, look at the space, look at the time that you have. Look at how, if you threw that right toe up in the air and did a hard anchor, you kind of started to do it right here. If you look at your right foot, you do a little anchor right there, but really drag that foot and slow yourself down. Speed is not your friend at this moment in time. You've already got this player beat. Okay? Any speed that you have, you need to bleed off right now because the goalie's in position. You're on your offhand. If you were a right-handed shot, it would be different because you'd be sort of shooting from the dot as opposed to shooting from below the dot. Okay? So you throw up that right toe, you drag that anchor, as they call it, and you turn back into the middle of the ice. Okay? If that player collapses on you, which she probably will, you're going to leave this player even more open than they already are. But look at the passing lane that you have right there. Okay? And again, AJ, I'm not picking on you. I've coached you a little bit here and there. And I want you to think about your options here. And I want you to think about the fact that shooting from there is a low percentage. Okay? So even if you're not going to pass, try to cut into the middle of the ice. Try to get over to where this player is now in that general area. Cut into the center towards the hash marks and try to get a better angle to shoot from because you're offhand, right? You're board side hand. You're left-handed coming down the left wing. You've got to create more angle for yourself, okay? So watch what happens when you decide to shoot right here, okay? There's a passing lane right there. You had another passing lane. You had two players coming in front of the net, okay? It ends up going off your stick and somehow ending up behind the net, okay? So now from this moment, from the moment that it leaves your stick until right when Morgan touches the puck, there's a slap, right? You can call that clean possession. But really, we don't have clean possession again. You don't. I'm not on your team. So until right there, okay? That's a long time considering just a moment ago, you had the puck right here. That's a really, really dangerous situation. Very dangerous for that team, okay? And you're on the power play. So when you have a numbers advantage, you want to be more patient than this. This is not a very high percentage quality shot given the fact that it's a 5-on-4 and you've got two options in front of the net and you always just have the option to just skate it around the net and try to set up your power play. You don't have to score right this second, okay? So there's that, okay? I'm not going to really critique the other stuff because it was kind of loose puck scrum around the net, okay? The only thing I would say here is these two players, sticks on the ice, okay? Stick on the ice. And then the far player who's on the far hash marks, okay? I want you to think about trying to stop yourself right here, okay? You're getting down too low because let's say Popejoy wins this puck right here and comes out from behind the net. Look where you are, right? You're too low. You're too close to him. You're not in a scoring position right there. So if he passes to you, you now have to pass to Vogel in front of the net, okay? Which isn't a bad play, but if you both were standing there, now that defenseman can't cover two people. That defenseman is basically covering you and Popejoy. So she makes a play on this puck. She kind of wins it. She kind of taps it away. Popejoy goes, oh, crap, I got to go back and get it. And now look where you're going. You're just sort of like drifting away from the play in no man's land. And now you find yourself on or just outside the dot, and you're drifting and you're doing nothing, right? You're kind of just hanging out here for no reason. When if you had just stopped and there were two of you standing right here, right there, you kind of stopped and you were standing right next to Vogel or just behind her. You started to work back into this area of the ice. Okay. On the power play, I wouldn't even mind you to work up the wall and just go over to the wall and allow him to pass it to you and then move it into the center of the ice. I don't understand what this player's doing. She just turned her back on the play for some reason. There's a guy standing 3 feet off of the blue, and she's got her back to him. Then there's another player that's blocking our view of the goal, of the goaltender, who's got her back to the play as well. At least she's looking down at the puck, and she's trying to figure out which side you're going to come out of, right? So this is just a very poorly organized penalty kill that you did score and you got a power play goal, and that's great. But you guys should have really been able to dominate this right from the zone entry. As soon as you got that relatively clean zone entry, and it didn't work out exactly because the puck was a little far in front of you, you guys should have been setting up in your power play right away, okay? And so I'm going to go now and shift to my defenseman out here, okay? The girls line for the defense, okay? So Olivia and Morgan. I want you guys to watch. I'm going to back it up, and I want you guys to watch the amount of space that other team gives you from the moment, that you enter the zone. Bang, you're in the zone. Okay? Look at how not a single player, they're not looking at the forwards. Again, at least that player knows enough to pick up that far wing. But nobody else is looking at you. And when we get to this moment in time, when the puck is behind the net, okay, right now the puck is behind the net. What do you see from the green team? Numbers. That's it. All you see is their numbers. Nobody's doing anything. It's a 5-on-4, okay? And I want you to, and you kind of estimate in your mind, Morgan and Olivia, how much room do you have between you and the goal, or you and their closest player, right? Morgan has a little less, and Olivia has a little more, okay? Now, obviously, we don't want our defensemen to be way, way, way down in the zone, but you can imagine a scenario right here where look at the passing lane that you've got that Popejoy has. It would be a backhand pass. The passing lane he's got to Olivia right now. Okay? And stick is not on the ice. We're not cutting towards the goal. We're just sort of drifting. We're not ready to shoot. Right now, you're in the position that I would like to see you in back here. Meaning, I'd like to see you, if they're not going to cover you, if they're not going to bring a player out to come near you, just keep going into the zone, straight the way you were going, and get yourself right on those hash marks and park yourself. You end up getting there, sort of, but I'd like to see you do it faster, okay? Do it more aggressively, and I would say the same thing for Watts as well, okay? Enter the zone, and you realize, oh man, all I see is numbers. Look at every single one of their players are below the dots, okay? They're below the dots with their back to you. That is a flashing green light for you to attack, okay? Attack. Now, you got to go in. You got to get your stick on the ice, right? Morgan, right here. Look at how instead of continuing on in the direction you were going or speeding up a little bit and sliding in, look at all that room. Look at all that space, okay? We're set up in a box, a 4 over there, and 3 of their players are on the other side of the ice. It's very disorganized, very poorly run penalty kill on their part. But these 2 high players, you have all the license in the world to keep going down into the zone. Now, let's do everything kind of the same, but let's assume that right here, Pope decides, I'm not going to shoot, right? And he decides, I'm not even going to pass into the middle. I'm just going to skate the puck around the net, right? And now we kind of pick it back up and imagine that he's coming around the net on his forehand now because he didn't turn around. He kept on skating. Well, look what we've got. We've got a guy right in front of the net. We've got a guy who I was hoping would kind of slide in right to his right, and we've got our two defensemen sliding into the zone and at the top of the circle. If you can't score from there, right, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, that's this penalty kill was atrocious. I'm glad you guys scored, but I will say you didn't score because it was a power play. Okay, you didn't outman the team and outmaneuver the team and move the puck around and get a clean shot. Okay, I'm not taking anything away from the goal. It was a great goal. I'm glad you guys scored, but there's all kinds of things that you could have done to really, really, really work this power play. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that Popejoy gets down here and they're really well organized, right? They're in their box. They're set up properly. Well, this is plenty of room. It's 5-on-4. Olivia slides over towards the wall. She receives the pass. Morgan slips back up high. She gets a pass across, and you start moving the puck around on the perimeter and make them come out and chase you. Okay? Again, not a bad shot right there. Like, go ahead and try to score that. Okay? But again, look at them. Every single one of their players is in a 10-foot circle. And we've got 3 players in a 10-foot inside that, maybe a 12-foot circle, and 2 players outside. And this player here, Morgan, has drifted away and opened up more space. Again, you guys know I'm not ripping on you. I love watching you guys play, and I think you're doing great. I'm just trying to suggest a few things that might, you could kind of picture in your head is be more aggressive. Be more aggressive. Slide into that open area and get your stick on the ice and call for that puck, right? Morgan, if you had slid towards the net right here and you were calling for it, he might have looked up and gone, oh, man, and could have slid it back to you, and you could have shot from right here instead of shooting from way out there. Now, you scored, so it counts and it works, but statistically, you're not necessarily going to score a lot of goals from out by the blue line, or not as many goals as you will from right there in the high slot. Okay, that's the most dangerous area on the ice, right between the hash marks. Right in there is where you want to be and where you want to take your shots from. And I would say the same thing for Olivia. Olivia, you could have just slid in there and said, yeah, and called for it. He dishes it to you, and you get a shot from there. Again, I'm not criticizing the fact that you shot there. There's just a lot of bodies to get through. And sometimes the best way to score, especially on the power play, I mean, look at that. Look at that. It's like they're playing football. They all just sort of lined up and laid down in front of the net and hope they could stop it. Okay? But you guys have also got your players stuck down there. And so we've got the 2 players out there. So just a little thought, a couple thoughts, couple things. Happy to watch you guys. Happy to run through some stuff, and hope that helps. Skate hard.